Why did I start this here? I gotta cut it now. And I just want to get this up. And we're good. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Mayor Fatemi. Join you back for what should be an exciting Friday. Happy Friday, everybody out there. I'm going to turn my microphone off on my laptop because you guys probably all heard that. I know all the people on TikTok all heard that. If you guys don't know, we go live every show on Boston Sports Takes. We go live on YouTube for all of our shows at Triple Threat Show. To find us everywhere really quick, I guess we're going to start off with this opener instead of going into the intro. Follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can find us everywhere you get your content, your podcast, on all of your social media platforms. You can find us everywhere at The Triple Threat Show. Some version of that, just look it up. You'll find us everywhere on all social medias. Didn't want to start it that way, but hey, you kind of got to go with the flow sometimes. But we got a packed show to unpack. Lakers get absolutely cooked on the road by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Their season might be over as their star player goes down with a hamstring injury. Yes, Luka Doncic, the MVP candidate, is most likely going to be out for at least the first round of the playoffs. I would be shocked if he came back, especially a guy coming off of a hamstring injury. We have a lot to unpack there, especially with how that game went on. A lot to unpack. The women's Final Four kicks off tonight. We get possibly a national championship game, and it should be a national championship game between South Carolina and UConn, and then we also get Texas and UCLA. Texas has something to say about that, so we will unpack both of those games, and then we have a bunch of other stuff to talk about. The Bruins fall at home last night. The Red Sox have opening day today. The Celtics play tonight. A lot of stuff happening in the NFL and the NBA. A lot of stuff to unpack. Happy Friday to everybody. But let's get right from the top here. I literally said it at the top of the show. Lakers got absolutely demolished at home. Or on the road, I should say. In OKC, the Thunder found themselves smooth sailing against the Lakers. The number 3 seed in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers, lose 136 to 96. 139 to 96, excuse me. I was like, I knew it was something like that. 139 to 96, your final, and it wasn't close. I think the Lakers had 4 turnovers in the first 4 minutes of the game. They finished, in the first quarter alone, they finished with 8 turnovers in the game. They get outscored 22-4 in the paint. This is all first quarter stats, by the way. 22-4 in the paint. 17-9 on rebound on 17-9 on rebounds in favor of the Thunder. Mind you, DeAndre Ayton exists. The Thunder have 7 steals in the first quarter. Lou Dort goes 4 for 4 from three-point range. They go collectively 7 of 10 from three-point range in the first quarter. End up shooting 45% from the three-point stripe. SGA has a phenomenal night, as always. 28 points for the man. Jalen Williams started off slow, but continues to find his footing for this Thunder team. Finishes with 10 points. But Lou Dort was the man to watch in this game. 14 points in the first quarter, and they were crucial. The Thunder found themselves up by 30 in the first 14 minutes of the game. I'm not kidding. There was 9:40 left to go in the second quarter. You can find it on our TikTok. I literally did a video I had to do a video in the middle of the game. I never do that. It was a 30-point game with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. 52-22. It was just a demolition job. And on top of all of that, on top of all everything that I just mentioned, the turnovers, the domination from the phenomenal shooting by OKC, Luka Doncic goes down with a hamstring injury. And mind you, in the first quarter, Luka hurt his hamstring. He pump faked a couple times, went up for a layup, and then immediately started grimacing for that hamstring. Goes to the free throw line, is literally rubbing his hamstring to just get it warmed up. We thought it was a cramp, but it was a strain. He strained it right then and there. It was a strained hamstring. Should have been pulled from the game. Just take a second, go hop on the bike, go take a second, go get rolled out. They were working on him all through halftime. And mind you, OKC is still up They were up like 82-51 at halftime. Luka comes back down by 30 and dribbles just a normal play, tries to hit a fall-away jumper, tries to even just bounce off of his back foot, off his left foot, and immediately just drops the basketball and starts hobbling. Grabs his left hamstring and goes to the ground. Yes, the Thunder go on a transition get a transition basket, but the main part of that story is Luka is most likely going to be out for at least the first round of the playoffs. At least. And if you guys didn't know, the Western Conference is a bloodbath. This is possibly the most important 2-week stretch of the entire NBA season for this Lakers team. This is a Lakers team that has been red hot in the month of March, that has won like 13 of their last 15. Outside of this game, they'd only lost a close game. They had lost to like a buzzer beater shot, or I think a buzzer beater free throws from the Pistons, who, mind you, are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They had beaten everybody. They were on an absolute tear of the Western Conference. Luka's averaging 40 points a game, and in a game where they needed it most, in a game where they actually needed their guys to step up in their biggest moment against the defending champs in OKC, who you're going to be seeing on Tuesday again at home in LA, you get blown out by 40 and you lose your best player for most likely an extensive period of time. This is a hamstring injury. If you guys don't know what hamstring injuries are, they suck. You can't walk, you can't run, you're hobbled, you can't move. You can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can't do anything. You can't roll it out. You have to wait and wait and wait. They're one of those nagging injuries that if you rush it, you could possibly either restrain it, injure it further, or completely tear the hamstring off the bone. Now, I don't think that's what happened last night with Luka, because if that happened, we would probably already get a notification about it. We would probably heard about it like this right after the game, or at least by now this morning, which we will probably get news about it sometime midday today. But at the end of the day, this is a big-time issue for the Lakers, and also Austin Reeves was holding his hip in the first quarter of that game against the Thunder too. I'm telling you, the Lakers did not have a good night at all last night. And I'm not just talking about just a loss. I'm talking about this could possibly derail their entire postseason. And should I go as far as say LeBron could be possibly leaving LA because of this? This is a guy in LeBron James who, I'm not going to get into this too much, but he's already talked about either retiring this year or calling it a career as soon as the season is over. Either calling it a career or getting traded somewhere else. He said he wants to stay, but he's weighing all his options. You're telling me a Lakers team who is now losing their best player in a playoff run, losing possibly their second best player, or he's at least injured, going to be playing injured for the rest of the playoffs. And this is a guy, a 41-year-old, who's trying to chase a ring, who's going to be weighing all of his options in the offseason, going to be the Lakers need a good push to keep him this offseason, to prove to him that they can actually do something next year, because it's going to be his last year. If not this year, this is the Lakers team that we're talking about. And it's crazy. It's unbelievable to see. I'm a Celtics fan. This is a Boston show. Everybody knows this is at this point if you've been watching this. If you're on TikTok, you can just see it in the damn name. It's Boston Sports Takes. But this is a tough thing to see for a Lakers team, for a guy in Luka Doncic who has been through the ringer for the last 2 years, getting traded from Dallas, has a tough year. I'm not going to get into the whole personal life thing, but loses his wife, has a divorce with his wife, and now is most likely going to be out in the most important part of the season. It's just tough to see for a guy like that, and especially with the way he's been playing. But regardless, like I said, this is a Lakers team that's going to be seeing the Thunder in 4 days from now on Tuesday night in LA. And I'll be back tomorrow if there's any more news that comes out about this injury. On the Thunder side of things, this is a crucial win, because on the other side, they're praying that they can hold on to this number 1 seed in the Western Conference. They've been fighting tooth and nail. This is a Thunder team that's been injured this entire season, and they're fighting tooth and nail to hold on to this seed, because There's a guy by the name of Victor Wembanyama that wants the number 1 seed. There's a Spurs team that's sitting in the number 2 spot that's on an 11-game win streak, just 2 games back on the Thunder. They've beaten the hell out of the Thunder all year long. The season series is like 3-1 in favor of San Antonio. This is a Thunder team that is, like I said, they're up 2 games. They still have a game against the Lakers, a game against the Clippers, a game against the Nuggets. They're going to be playing their starters the rest of the season because that's how badly they need this number 1 seed. Especially if they face the Spurs in a conference finals, you're going to want home court advantage for both of these teams. It's not just OKC, it's San Antonio too. But like I said, we'll probably get into that later when we do a full Western Conference breakdown. I did an Eastern Conference breakdown. You can check it out on YouTube. I did it yesterday for yesterday's episode. But for today, that was the main thing that we got to get to. Lakers getting cooked by the Thunder and probably losing their best player for the season, at least for the first round of the playoffs. From there, the women's Final Four. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I know I'm a big NBA guy. The NCAA tournament's still going on. It's been like a week since anything's happened since the Elite Eight, but it's still going on. And we got the women's Final Four today. We got the men's Final Four tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow to preview that one. But for today, we're going to sit here and go through both of the games. I really don't want to start with the first game because it's a lot better than the second game, but I'm going to start with it anyway. South Carolina and UConn. I understand if you're not a huge women's basketball fan, but if you know anything about women's basketball, UConn is the creme de la both of these schools are the creme de la creme of women's college basketball. Dawn Staley is probably the best women's head coach of all time, arguably the best college coach of all time. She's in the conversation, women's and men's. She is in the conversation at the end of the day. And then you have UConn as well, who have been on a tear. They've won ridiculous amounts. I don't know the exact numbers, but they've won a ridiculous amount of championships. They've gone undefeated this season. I think both these teams have gone undefeated this season. And they're squaring off in the Final Four in what should be the national championship game, but it's the Final Four. We'll take it. It is what it is. South Carolina went 35-3 this season. UConn went 38-0. Granted, South Carolina plays in the SEC, so that probably plays a role in it. But at the end of the day, this is a South Carolina team that's still really good. I mean, they're incredibly well coached. So you got to keep them in the mix. They've had a great tournament. Both of these teams have blown everybody out. They blew TCU out in the Elite Eight game, winning by 26 points in that one. And it's all about Tanya Latson, if you're asking me. She has to be the deciding factor in this one. Her and Joyce Edwards are the best players on this team. And if they can get it going together, if Raven Johnson can pitch in a little bit as well, she's an absolute shooter. If they can pitch in a game together and if they can all get their game offensive going, they can go out there and beat UConn. But I'm picking UConn in this game. UConn is arguably the best women's college basketball team this year. I know Texas exists, and we'll get to them in a second, but UConn has been the pound-for-pound best team in women's college basketball. It's not close. It's really not close. They've been the best in stat-wise, shooting-wise, scoring-wise. They've been the best team. Sarah Strong and Blanca Quinones have been the best duo in college basketball, in women's college basketball. They deserve all the credit in the world. Azzi Fudd has been phenomenal as a shooter. She didn't have a great game against Notre Dame, shot 5 of 12. But if she can get it going with those two girls, this UConn team is not losing. They're going to go out there and beat South Carolina and most likely win the national championship game. I'm saying it now. If you're Jordan's Furniture, I apologize if you guys didn't know. Jordan's Furniture is selling free furniture if you bought from them before the tournament started. If the women's team and the men's team win, we'll get to the men's team tomorrow. But at least the women's team look like they're going ahead to win another national championship game. Of course, we can't get ahead of ourselves. It's still the Final Four. Going to the other game, you got Texas and UCLA. Now, if you didn't know, Texas has shooters left, right, up, down, and center. Everywhere you look, they can shoot the basketball. All from the 1 through 5, they can all shoot. They're phenomenal. They've been phenomenal from the three-point stripe. They've been phenomenal getting to the free throw line. They're physical. They're great defensively. Held Michigan to 41 points in the Elite Eight game. They've been unbelievable this entire season. Madison Booker has been unbelievable. She's going to need to have a good game against UCLA. UCLA's been good. They definitely had the toughest test out of the group going up against Duke, who took down LSU. But I'm rolling with Texas to get it done. They've been phenomenal all year long, so that's going to set up a game between UConn and Texas for the national championship game. And we'll be back. That game will take place on Sunday. And if I'm right, we'll be back on Sunday morning to preview that one. That's all I wish I knew more about women's college basketball, and honestly, men's, it goes the same way. I don't know much about both of them. I'm really an NBA guy, but at the end of the day, it's a Final Four. You got to talk about it. The women's deserve their credit at some point, Well, I'm going to get canceled. But I'm just going to leave it there. Ja Morant, I'm going to switch to the next topic. NBA continues to keep up. Ja Morant sets his house for sale in Memphis. Now, this is a guy, Ja Morant, who's been on the block for the longest time. I thought he was going to get traded at the trade deadline. Didn't happen. It's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen in the offseason. This is going to be a really busy offseason. We say that every year, but I actually mean it this time. This time, Ja Morant is most likely on the move. Giannis Antetokounmpo is most likely on the move. LeBron James could be on the move. There's going to be a lot of moving parts this entire offseason. That's just 3 off the top of my head. There's going to be more moving parts. The Toronto Raptors are going to be in the mix. The New Orleans Pelicans are most likely going to be in the mix. The Hawks have been making moves everywhere through and getting better and better every year over the last 2 years. There's going to be a lot of moving parts this offseason. But when you're looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, they look like they're going to be getting ready to really dial into their core with Zach Edey and Gigi Jackson. They've been phenomenal. They're 2 young players. They're going to go with their youth. They're ready for a full reset. They've been playing really good basketball. They're a team that's playing in a tough conference. So you got to give them a break at some point. They're playing in a conference that's just basically unwinnable at this point with the Western Conference. But they've been playing really competitive. They've played competitive against the Rockets, against the Hawks, against the Knicks, against the Hornets. These are all teams that are playoff teams. Against the Celtics, this is a team that's going to be in the mix when you look at them next season. And if they can get their guys together, if they can get Ty Jerome healthy, Walter Clayton Jr., if they can continue to develop him, Jalen Wells, I literally said, Zach Edey and Gigi Jackson, they've been the stars of this team. Javon Small, if they can get their guys together and they can get a guy that a real leader on this team that can bring the whole group together with their young coach, the Grizzlies are going to be back. And they're going to be able to take their name back after Ja Morant's gone. Ja Morant, they're going to get a package for him, so I expect him to be gone by this offseason. That's just really quick, fast, and in a hurry. To the index here, before I call it a quick, I do got to head to work in about an hour, so we do have a long index, though, so don't you worry. Bruins fall to the Panthers. This is a Boston show. We got to talk about them. Bruins in a really tight playoff race right now in the Atlantic Division. They're now sitting in the 4th place seed. They're on a 4-game win streak. The 3 teams ahead of them have been playing lights out. The Lightning, the Canadians are on a 7-game win streak. They've been tearing it up. The Lightning have been playing unbelievable. The Sabres are still up there. But, of course, if you guys didn't know, the Lightning take the number 1 seed as the Sabres fall last night. But last night was all about the Bruins. The Bruins had an opportunity to win that game too, but Bobrovsky was unbelievable. He had 15 saves in the final period of the game. Finished with 28 saves. The Bruins had a power play with under 4 minutes to play. They had an opportunity to tie it up. They really had their shots, but Bobrovsky was just a wall. Nobody scored after the first period, and the Bruins fall on the road to the Panthers. They'll be back tomorrow against the Lightning in a big one. They have 2 games coming up against the Lightning, a game against the Hurricanes. I say this every time, a game against the Blue Jackets, and they close out the season against the Devils. Those are 5 playoff caliber teams that they still have to play, and they're sitting in the wild card race. So this is gonna be down to the wire for the Bruins as they wrap up this season. They're 4 points behind the Canadiens, 6 points back on
the number 1 seeded Lightning and Sabres, both tied for the number 1 seed right now. That game against the Lightning tomorrow is going to be crucial. Both of those games coming up soon. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the Bruins and the rest of the NHL as we get close to wrapping it up. Switching over to the NFL, Kyle Duggar going to the Bengals. Shout out the Patriots, former Patriots cornerback, goes to the Bengals. Had a year with the Pittsburgh Steelers that the Steelers end up letting him walk. Another, what in the actual are the Steelers actually doing? Because at this point, I really don't understand. You hire Mike McCarthy, horrible hire. You still don't have a quarterback. You're going to be rolling with Will Howard probably from Ohio State, unless you bring back Aaron Rodgers, who still hasn't been signed to a contract. We're still waiting to figure out what's going on with that fiasco. And your defense continues to get older. TJ Watt is still there, but he's getting older. Minka Fitzpatrick isn't there. You have Jalen Ramsey, he's getting close to his mid-30s now. So you got a guy named Kyle Duggar, who's still relatively young. He's in his 4th season in the NFL, and you let him walk to the Bengals, to your division rival in the Cincinnati Bengals. From the Bengals' perspective, this is a good thing. I'm not going to lie. They need defense. They need any defensive help they can get. They have nobody out there that wants to play defense. They have a bunch of offense, but they're also giving up 40 points a game. Bringing in a guy like Kyle Duggar, he'll be able to get some picks, hopefully defend a little bit, and actually maybe give you guys a little bit of a cushion in terms of giving you guys some help defensively. This is a good thing for the Bengals. I really like the move. A good addition. It's only a 1-year deal. But if Kyle Duggar does well, I expect them to hopefully sign him to an extension. If not, go to another team and he makes his money where he deserves it. This is a good player in Kyle Duggar. He deserves his money. Sticking to the quarterback conversation, Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, Stephon Gilmore retires. Legend. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer, unfortunately, but he was an unbelievable cornerback, one of the best of his time back in the day. At one point, he was the best cornerback in the NFL. Yes, before he was with the Patriots, when he was with the Bills, he was phenomenal. He joins the Patriots, wins a Super Bowl champion, continues to play really well up until last season. I think he was with the Rams last season. I can't remember. But officially retiring from the NFL. He deserves all his flowers and goes and walks away into the sunset. Stephon Gilmore deserves all the credit in the world. Actually, he was a two-time Super Bowl champion, one against the Rams and one against the Atlanta Falcons, which arguably we all remember 28-3. So yeah, Stephon Gilmore retires. Phenomenal career for him. From there, Chris Maddox. Before I get there, Celtics go up against the Bucks tonight. I expect them to win that game in Milwaukee. No, I don't know if Giannis is playing or not, but I expect the Celtics to most likely rest one of their guards as they continue to hold off and get their guys prepped and ready to go for hopefully a deep playoff run. So the NBA season, there's only like 10 days left of the NBA season, so you got to hold on to your players, and they've already been doing really well with that, resting Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum on off days. I expect one of them to be out tonight, so especially after a big game against the Heat a couple nights ago. They're most likely one of them will be out, and I'm picking the Celtics regardless if they're out or not. That's how good the Celtics are. That's how bad the Bucks have been. The Bucks are going to be a conversation for another day. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to talk about that too much. That'll be an off-season conversation. Chris Maddox, Celtics beat reporter, goes on a podcast last night, says the Celtics, if they win the championship this year, it'll be the best championship in NBA history. I'm not going to lie. That's a crazy statement. I understand it. Probably top 7, probably the best in Celtics franchise history, but I don't know if I'm ready to go more than top 10. Especially, it's just a feel-good story what Jaylen Brown has done this year for what's supposed to be called a gap year for the Celtics. Jason Tatum goes out with an Achilles injury, comes back 8 months later, has been playing phenomenally for the last 12 games. If they go out and win the championship, don't get me wrong, it'll be a great ring. It'll go down in history as one of the best, but you're not beating what Dirk Nowitzki did in 2011. I think we can all agree on that. So I'm going to leave that there. Chris Maddox, I love you, but I can't agree with you on that one. And finally, Red Sox opening day, they go up against the San Diego Padres. They have a big-time game. 1-5, the Boston Red Sox have been this year. When are they going to figure it out after all the hype we heard from the World Baseball Classic? They go out and go 1-5 in the first 6 games. They won the season opener against the Reds, the first game. Then they proceeded to lose both games to the Reds since then, and then get absolutely demolished by the Astros. 8-1, 9-2, and 6-4. Padres, I think they're also sitting at 1-5. They may be 2-4 now. Excuse me, they are 2-4. Winning their latest game, to the Giants. Rafael Devers will be back in Boston. That'll be a big time reunion for him. And the Red Sox will be able to hopefully get a win as they have their home opener in Fenway Park, as they have their 2026 opening day at Fenway. We always love opening day. Come on, it's Fenway Park. But that's all I'm going to leave you with. NBA, if you want me to give you daily picks, I did it yesterday. We'll do it again today if I can pull it up. I went 4-2 yesterday. The only 2 games I picked wrong were the Pistons. We got to talk about the Pistons. Oh, I didn't write it down. I forgot. Cade Cunningham gets an update. They're gonna reevaluate Cade Cunningham next week, especially with the playoffs rolling around the corner. That'll be big time news. Be on the lookout for that. Sitting at I think they're like 7-2 now, or 8-2 in their last 10 games since Cade Cunningham went out. The Pistons have been playing phenomenal. They deserve all the credits in the world. Dennis Jenkins has really taken the bull by the horns. Jalen Duren is averaging 25 points a game, multi-digit rebounds, had 22 and 14 last night. Duncan Robinson with 15 points as well. They still have a bunch of shooters, him and Kevin Huerter. I love Kevin Huerter. He's a phenomenal player. They have defense with Asher Thompson and Ronald Holland. Paul Reed, we saw that overtime game against the Thunder. I wasn't able to come here and talk about it, but granted, the only reason, SGA shot like 25 free throws, so he finished with 45 points. When you have a game like that, SGA, the Thunder aren't losing. And this is a Pistons team without Cade Cunningham pushed that Thunder team to overtime. This Pistons team is going to be really good. They're going to be on. Do not sleep on them with or without Cade Cunningham. They deserve their flowers. You need to pay attention to this team. Defensively, they're still really good. Offensively, they're piecing it together. Team might be better than what they left off. I'm gonna probably talk about them more tomorrow. So be sure to tune in tomorrow for tomorrow's show if you're interested in talking about the Pistons. I'll be back for that, just because I want to pick up some stats for this team, just because of how well they've been playing. They get the win against the Timberwolves last night. Trailblazers beat the Pelicans. Oh, the other game I got wrong. The Cavs beat the Warriors last night. I picked the Warriors, so I went 4-2 last night. Tonight, Timberwolves on a back-to-back. I'm picking the Sixers in that one with the way Paul George has been playing. The Hornets on a back-to-back. I'm picking them as well. Hawks against the Nets. I'm picking the Hawks. Bulls against the Knicks. Back-to-back for the Knicks. I'm picking the Knicks anyway. Celtics, Bucks, Celtics. Rockets, Jazz, Rockets. Raptors, Grizzlies. I'm picking the Raptors, who have been slipping tremendously. Granted, they lost Emmanuel quickly for the season. He won't be back. They're going to be falling, heavily relying on Brandon Ingram for their offense. I'm rolling with the Raptors regardless. Magic, Mavericks, I'm rolling with the Mavericks. And Pelicans, Kings, I'm rolling with the Pelicans. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. I'm praying the same time. I'm going to my parents' house tomorrow, but I'm praying sometime around noon at the latest. I'll be back for another show. Tune in for the show tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.